Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the show, Wise Up, Rise Up show. It is me, your host, Dani Wallace. I am the Queen Bee, and you are too. I know it's a bold statement to make, but welcome, y'all. I hope you are feeling good this Monday. I'm feeling good, surprisingly good. In fact, those of you that have been following me over the weekend will know that work has now started in earnest on my book. So more on that in a sec. Who is first past the post this morning? It's Joanne Smith. Good morning, you sassy sausage. Hey, Monday love coming your way and yours as well. Rosie Wood, good morning. Good morning, Govinda. How are you, my angel? Good morning, Emma Belmont. Nice to see the usual suspects. Hopefully we'll have some new viewers this morning as well. Do us a favor, share the IATQB love and give us a little cheeky share. Hit the like and the love button if you're enjoying what we're talking about this morning. I am feeling the fire. I thought I would be feeling pretty tired. It was 1 o'clock this morning when I wrapped up. So yesterday I kicked the children and Wallace out of the house and I was like, no, I need some time. So bear in mind, we have been in lockdown for a long old time now. It's been like nearly 6 months, if it's not been 6 months already. And I have a deadline for my proper book. So some of you will know I wrote a little book. It's very little. It's tiny, like the little tiny book, like a how-to on speaking earlier on this year. And I kind of kicked that out in a weekend. And I loved the experience. And we kind of birthed it all together, didn't we? And then it just keeps selling out. I just keep ordering print runs and it keeps selling out, which is brilliant. But it's not a big book. And I wanted to kind of slay the dragon of writing a proper, I say in inverted commas, Amazon bestseller. So that is the aim. That is the next kind of, I say, big thing that we're going to be boxing off this year. So we're going to be launching on Amazon, and we'll have a big launch party here online, and we've got a big launch party the week later on the 7th of November as well in real life on the 29th. So pop the date in the diary, the 29th of October. So on the 29th of October, it will go live on Amazon, and we are going to make a bestseller between us, you guys. So I'm going to keep you posted on the writing process. I mean, we're going to birth this book together. I feel like I'm like laboring a book out of myself. So yesterday we managed to get, I say we because you've been informed of the whole process. I got the introduction done, dedication done, 4 chapters done. For those who wanted to know what it's about, it's called I Am the Queen Bee, How I Overcame Self-Sabotage and How You Can Too. So it's a little bit of a mixture of autobiography and business and personal development type advice, really talking you through some of the experiences that I've had, what I've learned along the way. I'm a big believer in success leaving clues. And if some of the things in the chapters you can read and as a result not have to go through some of the pain that I had to go through as I was building my business and also working on myself, then it's got to be a good thing, right? So it's my intention that I write it in a really funny way. When you read it, it should be like I'm on your shoulder, having a little bit of a jive and a little bit of a talk to you and giving you a swift and gentle and loving kick up the arse for you to go out and reclaim your birthright of success and abundance and all that wonderful stuff that I Am the Queen Bee is all about. So there we go. Once we finish the show this morning, I will be hitting the typing back up. So I will keep you posted. We're on just over, I think, just shy of 7,000 words. We've got 40-odd to go, 40,000 to go. So the kids in Wallace, they come back on Wednesday. So I've got my work cut out for me. But I am not whinging. It has been, I've got my chapter list. I know what I'm writing. I feel like it's kind of coming together. I was just saying to Leona as we was having a chat backstage in the green room, that it's really kind of moving forward in sequence. I didn't think it was. The way it's written is going to be like you could dip into a chapter here or a chapter here, and each of the chapters been written like a mini talk because that's how I kind of see things. I mean, I'm a speaker coach, right? So I'm going to write things like a talk, and that's how I've kind of attacked my chapters. It was the way I kind of got my head around writing the thing. As soon as I sort of sat at the bottom of the mountain, I was thinking, shit, I've got to write 50,000 words here. To write 50,000 words feels huge. It feels massive. But to write a series of talks, well, hell, I could do that all day long. So that is what I'm doing. So fingers crossed. Some of the beta readers have now got hold of some of the chapters to give me the feedback, make sure I'm on the right track, baby. But It feels good. It feels good, and I'm excited to share it all with you. All right. Shit weather, you guys. Tell me what's happening where you are in the world. Not going to lie, this morning it is a bit shit up here in Preston. It's a bit shit be going on the map. Tell me where you're watching from in the UK or indeed abroad. Our amazing guest this morning is watching from Spain, so I'm assuming it's going to be Scorchio where she is. But if you are watching wherever else you are in the world, we shall represent you underneath the compass just here. So please feel free to share with us what is going on with it. It's a very British thing to do, isn't it? Very British, sharing the weather. Good morning, Amy Mantle. How are you? Annie Cameron, hello, hello. Emma Roscott in the house. I love watching your journey. I love watching your journey too. A drizzly bee. I've got a little rainy bee for you, Emma, of in Warrington. There we go. Let me move the it's a bit shit bee. It must be drizzling a little bit further down. What we like, is it rainy? Is it scorchio? Joanne, I don't, you made these for me. I don't have a Misty in the Midlands bee. I'm going to have to put you in it's a bit shit for Brum. There we go. The Midlands are being repped by an it's a bit shit bee. It's a bit shit in Cheshire. I think these bees actually cover the Cheshire area, so we're all right. I said to Leona when she came backstage, she was like, it looks like you've got the weather map going on behind you. I was like, I do, but it's the shit weather where there's no science or reason or rhyme involved. We're just talking about the weather. So before I bring our guest on, it is Monday. Feel free to let me know wherever you are in the UK and let me represent you. I'll try and catch you. There we go, Northern Ireland. There we go, grey outside. It's a bit shit in Northern Ireland over there across the water. It's drizzling in West Berkshire. Sarah, you know my geography is ridiculous. If I do this, is this West Berkshire? Is that where it is? It's proper rainy and sunny Shropshire. There we go. I'm hoping that this is looking after you all so far. My limited geography does not allow for it. Let me know if you need it somewhere else. I'll sort you out. I've got more it's a bit shit bees because, of course, we are based in the UK, so we need plenty of them, don't we? It was absolutely scorchio last week. I feel like that was our week of summer done and dusted. But yeah, it's Monday. It's Monday, and as ever, I want to put it out. It's down south. Anywhere below the Watford Gap is down south. So that's why we've got the line there. There's the Watford Gap. We're down south. So Sarah Savory, I feel like you're represented. So yeah, I'm stood sort of just past base camp at the bottom of the mountain that is this week. It is my intention to have this first manuscript done and dusted by Friday, which I know is a bit of a tall order. So many of you have been getting in my inbox and going, oh, Dani, it's like, fucking hell, you've got ages to write this book. I'm like, no, I'm going to write it in a week because I'm bloody busy. I've only got this week, and then we're going into launch, and then we'll be launching Be Her So You Want to Be a Speaker, and then we've got the actual book launch itself, and we are launching the Fly Anyway Foundation on the same night as the book launch on the 7th of November, which is really, really exciting. So I'm stood kind of just past base camp. Where are you this week? I want you to let me know in the comments that if you were to have achieved something by the end of this week, what will have made it a good one for you? Bang it in the comments. Let's be accountable to each other. And whilst you do that, I'm going to bring our incredible guest. We're very, very lucky to have this wonderful lady with us on the show this morning. She has grown communities in their thousands, their tens of thousands, their hundreds of thousands. There is nothing much that this lady doesn't know about business, a very serious subject of business, and sometimes the very frivolous subject of business. Please welcome onto the show the incredibly talented, the gorgeous Leona Burton. Good morning. Oh, you got quiet. Where's your sound? I lost your sound. Have you put your pods in? I can't hear you. Blooming heck. We were just having a whole conversation. Let me know in the comments, you guys, can you hear Leona? I mean, she's no good to me because I need to be able to interview the bugger. Oh, hang on a minute. You went and then you came back again. You may well need to take your earphones out. Have you just put them in whilst you were back there? No, they were in anyway. Oh. No, can't hear. I can't. Oh, flipping heck. That's no good. We have got some things to talk about this morning. There's some sound. I can hear you.
We will not be beaten.
I can hear you. We are not going to be beaten by technology this morning, Leona Burton. We are not going to be beaten by technology.
Oh
now
my
you're
goodness,
frozen looking all beautiful, but we can hear you.
What an introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What if I don't
Thank
live
you
up to
for being with
expectation?
us. Don't be soft. Don't be soft. There is no way possible. I have my friends on here, my inspirational people on here. One of my favorite things to do in the morning is to bring my friends onto the screen and give them a little lift and share just how fabulous how fabulous you really are. And you are. You've done some pretty incredible things. I wonder, there's loads of things that we could talk about this morning. But before we do, you're frozen. You are frozen on the screen. And I wonder if you guys watching at home, can you see that Leona is... Oh, hang on. Oh, wait.
Am I back?
Yes! You're there. She is.
I'm back.
Oh, praise the Lordy Lord, the Tooth Fairy, Father Christmas, and all the deities. Here she is, Leona Burton. Hello. It's nice to see you moving and I can hear you and everything now. Before we go on, we are international this morning, aren't we? Whereabouts are you in the world?
I am in Spain, and it is El Scorchio as per.
I have a Scorchio B. I have a Scorchio B just for you. We'll rep you just underneath the compass up there, across the sea in beautiful Spain. We are living vicariously through you this morning because by the looks of it, from our Queen Bees watching at home in the UK, it is definitely a bit shit outside today. So we're all living vicariously through you this morning. So thank you for getting up early and joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I was up at 5. My son decided to get me up and get me ready at 5 o'clock this morning. So I was more than prepared for you, Dani.
I love it. I love it. Like, she's like full makeup. She's rocking it. I was like, this quick, put some bronzer on my face, make it look like I'm not dead. I'm not even put my eyebrows on. And your eyebrow game is strong. I feel like very insignificant. If I do this throughout the interview, I'll feel better. When I first started doing this show, it started with me getting ready for work. And I would put my makeup on in the morning, just getting ready for work. But then we have such interesting guests on, and I know you're going to be the same this morning, that I couldn't concentrate and talk at the same time, so I stopped.
Do you know what though? It's really funny because I'm like that with my followers. I started, and if you look at my early content, it was well lit, and it was like my hair and makeup was immaculate, and I was, had teleprompts and all kinds of shits going on. And now I'm like non-brushed hair, like in my pajamas. I don't actually care, and they love it even more.
That's it, isn't it? It's that sort of you can take me as I am sort of situation, and that's pretty much where I hang my hat, or at least my headscarf. So Leona, thank you for joining us. Tell us, for those of us that don't know, what it is that you do.
So
what is it that you do? Let's try and put a nail on this.
What is it that I do? I support female entrepreneurs. I support a lot of female entrepreneurs on a large scale. I'm not your traditional coach or mentor. I don't, wear those hats. One thing that I do is I provide child-friendly networking events for women around the world. Being a mum of 5, I kind of understood how difficult it was to grow a business whilst I've got children, I've been breastfeeding for what feels like 100 years, and I can never go to the early morning. Seriously, mate, my boobs are down to my knees.
I got 3, I stopped. We could hike mine over my shoulders to get places.
So, I just felt that there was a gap in the market for female-led networking events that were child friendly. You don't have to have children, you don't need to be a mom, but there is that option there. And it's been a wild journey. Like, I didn't think there was such a need as there is. It's been massive.
If I look back through my journey of networking, and my first experience of networking, I guess in earnest, was about 8 years ago. And it took me a while to find somewhere that not just fit around me being a mum, but just fit my lifestyle, that fit that fit how approachable I wanted the people to surround myself to be as well. There were places like BNI, and it all felt very secret handshakey. It all felt very kind of old school and trussed up, and it isn't how I do business.
Right, and I think that's like old school business. So I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, and they're very well spoken, suited and booted. I was brought up by my dad, and very handshaky, and that just wasn't me. And I go to those things and I think, God, this is terribly boring. Like, is this really actually how business needs to be built? And I thought, nah, like, business can be built whilst having fun. Yes, it's bloody hard work, but surrounded by people that you actually connect with, rather than just throwing your business card at people and you're there to be sold to. Sitting and just listening to 100 presentations just wasn't like my vibe. I knew from spending 7 years doing television that networks really are powerful, and it's about who you know and how you connect with those people, and how you can benefit them, as well as cross promotion and all of that fun stuff. And that's when I really started to understand the power of networking. And for me, I don't want to be the most intelligent in the room. I don't want to be the most successful in the room. I want to put myself in a room where people are badass, they're hardworking, they're dedicated, not just financially successful, but successful in life. Because for me, success isn't just about finance. So it was just creating an environment where I could bring women from all walks of life into one room and then all be supportive of each other, which I'm sure you faced has been quite difficult, So typically women can be horrible to each other, and I wanted to break down those barriers. And it wasn't about what handbag you had or what house you live in or what car you drive. It was about your morals and your ethics and your values and what you could contribute to each other. So we have startup businesses and kitchen table startups and 7-8 figure business owners all in one room, and that hadn't really been done before. And I think that's why it's been so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. The interesting thing as well is the way that women network is very different to the way that men network. We are emotion-led and connection-driven animals. That's biology, without us even starting to get into the semantics of whether we're women or not. We are connection-led people. And when you are sharing within a room, it was interesting. I had a really great conversation with Fidel Bohill a couple of weeks ago, and it really made me think that men, when they are in a room, particularly in a business setting, will internalize ideas, sift through them, and then share what they think is the most kind of logical or the most smart, I guess. Yeah. Because it's men's role biologically to get things right and get things right pretty quick. Whereas women, when they are working things out, so when they're networking, when they're sharing, will share all of the potential outcomes. We'll share we externalize our thought processes. And as such, when we network with men and they are not aware of this, often we get dismissed. Oh, she's just saying whatever comes out of her mouth, which isn't. It's our externalization process. So when we're networking with women, we all get that, and it becomes a much more supportive environment. It's not to say that there aren't spaces to go and network with men. God, I love men. I married one. But it's so powerful when you have everybody in the room understanding that that's just the way that we work things out, right?
Yeah. And actually, what's really interesting is I was brought up by a single dad. And so a lot of my energy is quite masculine in the way I deliver, in the way I communicate sometimes. But actually, over the years, I really hated women. And I think probably that's because my mum left me very, very young, subconsciously. And I was like, I just don't like women. They're bitchy and they're vile and they just want to take chunks out of each other. And what I realised go through, through my 20s was actually that wasn't the case. It was just women were misunderstood or weren't given the opportunity to really share effectively and weren't given the platform that they sometimes are needed. And for me, I wanted to change that because I thought, well, why isn't anybody doing anything about this? Like, why are we just allowing this to go on, and for women to be quietened, or, you know, for us to be misunderstood? You know, nothing was more powerful than the Be a Lady video for me. You know, where she's like, be a lady, but don't be too thin, and don't be too
don't wear too makeup, and don't wear makeup.
Too sexy. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And for me, that just kind of was bang on the money. You know, that was really how I felt. And I knew so many other people felt like that. And that was, you know, for me, a big driving force of, we wear so many hats and we have such a high level of expectation on ourselves, as well as, you know, our families and the media and all of the, you know, the influencers around us have on us, that pressure is not healthy. And I wanted to start eliminating some of those pressures and some of those barriers that we were facing, and also putting on ourselves, because I do think we're guilty of putting a lot of those on ourselves too. And I wanted to break down those walls through creating an environment that wasn't just healthy for you to grow your business, but it was healthy for you to grow as a person, and in a supportive environment, which is a lot of the women that come to our events haven't got. You know, some of them are highly successful but don't have a supportive environment, and actually they're looking for a network where they can share their ideas without being ridiculed, or, you know, just being able to offload that they're having a tough time. Like, business is hard. You know, you're going to work your tush off this week, and by the end of the week you're going to be exhausted and be in a place of just, everybody leave me alone, I just need to recoup and gather my thoughts. And I think, you know, people don't talk about that enough. People have this expectation that successful entrepreneurs just hustle, and never go, do you know what, I'm done with the world today, nobody talk to me. And I wanted to break those walls down and allow people to understand, especially women, that it's okay to be tired. It's okay to be stressed with your kids. It's okay to feel like a bad mum because you've had to get your head down and write your book for a few days without your kids being in the house. And having that mum guilt is normal for the majority of us to feel. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be away from your kids to write your book. It's a good thing because it gives you the space. But you have that element of guilt around, but I should be a mum, and I should be a better wife, and I should be all of the things that we're trying to feel all of the time. And we can't be all of those things at a time. We only have, you know, a limited amount of resources. So the networking events for me were more than just a networking event. They're an environment to be able to help women grow and help them understand that they can give themselves permission to step into the woman that they want to be, rather than the woman that society has forced upon them to be. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's like when I've been to a number of meetings, and it's like having the pressure, the lid taken off the pressure cooker. We can just kind of relax. There is a lot, particularly within networking meetings, kind of aggressively find out what it is that you do. Oh, can I sell to you? Can I not sell to you? Where actually, if you chip away at networking, only works when you work at networking. You couldn't expect to go to just one networking meeting, exchange some phone numbers with someone, then boom, that's the business done. That's not how it works. So by having a safe space for you to not just go and find out what everybody's doing and clock that, and they clock what you do. But when you share in vulnerability, when you share in authenticity, when you share and you're looking around the room, you're going, you know what, we're being real here, as well as sharing our businesses and our successes, that you make better connections, you do better business. It just makes sense, doesn't it? You do better business when you trust somebody. And when you're in a position where you can take the lid off the pressure cooker, you can just relax a little bit. It's better for everybody, including the economy.
Well, exactly. You know, and I think that's so important. It's so important that everybody just, I think, you know, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and what I've seen, especially recently, with all of the issues that we're facing across the board at the moment, is that everybody is so stressed, and everybody's taking a swipe at each other, and, you know, we've almost come full circle, which is quite sad. We've come back to being very judgmental and being very critical, and I think we need to all just take a breather and understand that we're all doing the best that we can in this moment that we can, and it's all about educating people in a way that they hear, because I think sometimes, you know, and especially people that are passionate like you and I, it's sometimes frustrating when you're just not hearing, like you're not, and you know, you're not hearing what I'm trying to say or what somebody else is trying to say, and that can be frustrating. But in that frustration, then you know, you're not, people aren't hearing what you're saying. So it's about taking a step back, understanding, okay, what can I do in this situation to help somebody understand where I'm coming from, or do we just agree to disagree in this you know.
And there's power in that too. There's power in that too. I think I say funny, it's far from funny. Just before the beginning of lockdown, there was this huge tidal wave, be kind. In the passing of Caroline Flack, it was, you know, be kind, stop judging people for what people are going through. And then we fell into this global pandemic that started to spark scarcity. It started to spark, you know, judging what people did with their kids, judging what people did with their face masks, judging what people did with their wherever they went with themselves. And it was like, be kind, and then let's not be very kind to each other, because lots of people started to sit within a place of fear, within a space of fear. And that's really, really difficult, because then what happens is we become desperate to be right, because if we're not right, then that's going to challenge our belief systems. So when our belief systems are being challenged, when we start to see so many people that are taking different avenues or making different decisions, it throws you into this turmoil of the potential of not being right. So that, paired with the fear of a global pandemic and the fear of a recession, I say in inverted commas, let's talk about recession in a bit, it just feeds itself, and it takes, I think, the leaders in industry, the leaders in fields, to just pop our heads above the parapets and say, it's not necessary. This fear isn't necessary. There are better ways to do things. Have you found that with like being in the online space, this fear, this scarcity?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've gone through some crazy shit over the last 6 weeks myself. It's been, you know, lockdown. I mean, lockdown for me has been wild.
You've lived a lifetime in lockdown.
It's been a long ass few months. So to go from the fastest growing female networking company in the world to all of a sudden, your business, 80% of your revenue is in-person events.
Right.
Done. Like, shit. What do you do? Yeah. So we had to pivot really quickly. I mean, we did. Luckily, we've got an incredible team, and we were able to switch onto online events before any of the major networking companies had done it. So we were able to pivot really fast. But, you know, I don't want to really touch on it too much, but the situation that happened, it combined with lockdown really just got me thinking about, right, Leona, focus. And dealing with all of the fallout and COVID and, you know, Black Lives Matters, and, you know, as an empath, for me, my emotions are all over the place. I'm like, what the fuck is what is going on?
No, like, you can drop a fuck or a bugger. You're on my show, babes. It's all good.
Okay, that's fine. What is going on? You know, and in that moment, I had to do some deep inner work. Like, you know, really just like focusing on, what have I got control over?
Yeah.
What have I got control over? And there are people looking to me to make some decisions, and, you know, to learn. They needed to learn through my lessons.
Right.
And it was like, I think people were expecting me to come out like, because I'm feisty. Yeah. And actually, I didn't. Right? I didn't. I went right in, and I was like, right, what have I got control of? What can I do in this situation to make a change for me and to impact the other people that are watching me, that are within my team, that are in my organization, that people that, you know, that message you and say you've changed their life, and maybe you don't even know who they are. You know, all of those people, that's who I did it for. So it was like summoning this inner strength. that I didn't really know I had. Like I've had to probably do it a couple of times before, but I forgot it was there. And then focus my attention on me and what I could control. So for anybody that's watching this that feels like life is crazy and that you don't have control of the situation, and Dani, I'm pretty sure you've been through those times where you're like, what do I do?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you've got to stop, you've got to go inward. What can I do in this situation? What can I do to get myself out of this situation? And I know when I was really, really tight for money, I used to do things like, right, if I go and work this job, I can afford to pay this bill. If I go and work this job, I can afford a new rug for my house. If I go and do this, I can do this. And it used to be the smallest of things. You know, it was really tiny steps. You know, and I think people look to successful people and they think, oh, it was easy for them. I
like how we would both do this in parentheses, don't we? We say successful because regardless of where you're at, regardless of whether you're turning over 6, 7, 8 figures, whatever, when you're in it, when you're living it, it's not easy. You're never there. You never get there. No. You're like, all right, okay, so I'm successful now.
Yeah. I think we got to, I don't know, when we got to our first 10 grand month, I was expecting unicorns of king rainbows. Like, you know,
right?
it's sold to you like you make 10 grand a month, that's it. You know, you've made it. I got there, and all I got was a big VAT bill.
Right?
Like, this sucks. Like,
what do you mean I've got to give it all away now? I've got it, all right.
Yeah. And then I got to almost 50 grand a month. And everyone was like, oh, you're so successful. You must be living the dream. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm sat here in my pajamas, like working away like an absolute diva, you know, just doing what I needed to do to be. So, you know, for those people who are struggling, and there will be more people struggling that watching this than feel successful, know that even in that success, people are still struggling with shit. Like they really are, whether it's their kids, their husbands, finances, drugs, alcohol addiction, they have all kinds of problems going on.
And new levels bring different devils, don't they?
And look inwards.
Absolutely. So, I heard this a number of years back, but new levels bring different devils. When you break through one bit of what you think your success is, that's why success has got to be a constant measure within yourself. It isn't just the number that's in your bank account. It's the who you're surrounding yourself with. It's the how much time have you actually got. It's all great if you're earning shitloads of money. Have you got time to spend with your kids? Have you got, you know, are you able to take them on holiday? Have you paid your VAT bill? You know, all of these sorts of things. It's that, yes, they're different problems, and they are problems I would rather have than have the problems where I was, you know, sofa surfing with my children and I didn't have a house to live in and all of that. I'd rather have those problems than those problems, but they're still problems and they're all relative. Right. And when people are watching on for other people with success, yes, success leaves clues, which is why we do what we do. But also there's a whole bunch of stuff that everybody deals with all the time because we're human. And it's, again, like you say, within shared communities like mine and communities like yours, it's sharing those vulnerabilities that allow you to connect and that allowed you to build up, keep things real for the people that haven't quite got as far along in their journey yet as well, to make them realize that, you know, it ain't all sunshine and roses and fighting glitter, is it?
No, and also I think when you share vulnerably, I think they then understand that they can too. Because I used to see like, oh, you know, I'm living the dream laptop lifestyle. And I'd be like, how do you get to that point?
How?
Like, like tell me how. And I realise it's all for show. You know, I know those people. I've met the majority of them. Actually, their lives aren't always like that. And you know,
and who takes the laptop to the beach anyway?
Who does that? Like, no. So I think it's much more beneficial for you to share openly and authentically. It's not an episode of Jeremy Kyle, but it is about showing up as yourself and as real as possible, because people need to connect with people. And I think gone are the days where you can put up a picture of you typing away at a Mac and everybody wanting to join your course, or, you know, here I am with, I remember speaking to a coach, and I won't tell you who she was, but a high level coach, very, very expensive coach. And she was like, I only go live when my nanny's at the house. And I'm like, I can't relate to that. Like, I've got 5 kids. They're like hanging off my boob. They're like climbing on my head, you know, and so that for me is how I communicate with my audience, you know.
Yeah.
That was her reality, and there's nothing against that, right?
No.
But that wasn't anything that I could relate to. I didn't have a nanny. I had 100 kids, and I couldn't make any comparison with, I couldn't literally connect those two together.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you need to become somebody else to grow a business, you don't. You need to become a better version of you. That's all you need to do.
It's understanding, isn't it, that there are certain things that you have to show up for consistently in order to grow anything. So many people out there, and let me know if this is you, where you've taken on a new business, or you might have got involved in multi-level marketing, or you might have got involved in something, and then all of a sudden it's become very, very important to you. So you put a post out on Facebook or somewhere, and you expect the world and his dog for it suddenly to have become very important to them and fall over themselves and come and buy stuff from you. And actually, it's the showing up consistently and the sacrifices that you make. This past 18 months have been a real whirlwind for this particular leg of the business, but I've been working on my audience for the last 7 years. This is, you know, no successes are overnight successes.
Right. It's just not. Like,
and
they're not.
There are so many steps that you've got to do, and you can't skip them. It was interesting. We went house shopping. I was just telling you, the house that we're living in is the house that we had to move into when I was homeless. We had no choice. It's too small. We've outgrown it. We need office space that we don't have. I'm in my bedroom. I'm like Rapunzel. Like, I only get let out if I let down my hair. And it's too much. The house is tiny. And it's taken us a long while to be able to save up and go and buy a house. When we first started to look at houses, we were looking at houses that were in a certain price bracket, and then found that they were too small. And actually, when we took some advice, we could look at bigger houses. And that was the first time that I thought outside what I was currently capable of. But it wasn't too far away from where I was now. If you'd asked me 8 years ago, would I have been able to go and look at that house? Like you with the nanny, how the fuck would someone like me even consider? People like us didn't get houses like that. I'm looking at people like us didn't have nannies or au pairs or retire the mum or do all of those things. But if you don't skip the steps, then you can gradually get there. No one's winning the lottery here. It's not happening overnight for any fucker.
No, it's not. And that's the thing. You know, when I think sometimes people presume, because I come from, my dad's side of the family is extremely wealthy. You know, you're talking multi-billionaires. All of them are multi-billionaires. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what kind of genealogy is this for you to all be multi-billionaires? But they are. But nobody handed me anything. In fact, when I became a young mom, they almost went, ta-da, off you go do your thing.
Work it out.
That was hard. I lived in a hostel. I lived in a caravan. I was in temporary accommodation. I had 3 children under 3 by the time I was 21. Mm-hmm. I hustled like a mofo the majority of the time. You know, I spent 7 years in further education. I did a degree at the same time as I was doing TV. I was the first one on set and the last one to go home, you know, all of that stuff. And I actually laughed this weekend. Me and my husband went out and I had a bottle of champagne, and this bottle of champagne was more than I earned in a day on television. Like, I was laughing to it's like I bust my absolute tush to even build the opportunity to be in the space of where I wanted to be, you know? Yeah. And people don't see that. They see, oh, it's so glamorous for you and easy. I'm like, there's nothing glamorous about TV, for one thing, let me tell you.
I work in show business too. It is not glamorous.
It's not glamorous, right? It's hard work. But I think people just expect you to have arrived. And even now, you know, my granddad, he's like, oh, he's very posh. Oh, darling, you've done so well. Yes, I have done well. And actually, I did it all my friggin' self. Thank you ever so much. You know, and that's no disrespect to him. And I think they did it because they wanted to pushed me into understanding that it was down to me. I get it.
Yeah.
But I resented them at the time. You know, I thought
it's hard at the time. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And there are, many, many times that people in positions of power or success could have quite easily given me a helping hand, and it wouldn't have served me. It wouldn't have served me, because I would have been super fucking entitled if that was the case, if that's what I had to do. And as such, I don't think if you hadn't have been through all of that, you would have been in a position where you're helping and being as impactful as you are now, growing the network that you are now from the space that you are in. In a similar way, had all of those things in domestic violence, the homelessness hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't be paying it forward now with, things like the Fly Away Foundation or helping women in business speak, and survivors serve. I'm yet to find somebody who is a survivor from a particular thing not be in a position where they serve their audience or their client base.
Yeah.
Have you found the same? I mean, you've had a bit more experience in the field than me.
For me, maybe I'm an overgiver, and I just do get told off all the time, like, you only give it too much. But I just think if I can help one person, and that person can help one person, and if you can impact other people, and I don't just mean financially, I mean, on a personal level, if you can just hold out your hand for somebody, that's helpful. It isn't helpful to do it for them. That isn't helpful, because it doesn't teach them the skills necessary. But it is helpful to hold out a hand, because there are so many women in difficult situations. And actually, there's several things I'm working on. I've been working on for a while to support women who have fled domestic violence or who have been in jail, even things like that. We look, and I come from a really snobby family, and I'm not ashamed to say that, but people look down upon women in situations where they have no money, or they've been in prison, or they've found themselves in a situation addicted to drugs or whatever it is, and we tend to kind of whatever, it's like, it's not our problem. We live in a society where if it doesn't affect us, it's not our problem. Well, we need to start taking some ownership of that. And how can we, as leaders and as influential people, really make a difference? And I don't just mean, we're influential because we've got a following. Like, please do not refer to me as a fucking influencer. Because I will poke you in the ass. Like, whatever. It's such a twatty thing to say.
It is a twatty thing to say.
Like, fuck off.
And for some people, it means absolutely shite all as well. It doesn't even generate any kind of income. It just gets them free stuff, and you can't pay your mortgage with free stuff.
No, free tea bags. Oh, thanks.
Brilliant influencer life.
Yeah, like living the laptop lifestyle. So I think you're all influential to each other and yourself, right? So it's about understanding you're the only one that has the power to go after what you want, and that is fucking hard to get into your brain, right? That's hard, because especially when you're rock bottom, and I've been there a few times, you are like, bastards, like, why doesn't somebody do this, or why doesn't somebody help me with this, and you know what, you're the only person that you can rely on in that situation to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And that's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth.
And it's very easy when you're in that position to be in that kind of victim mode. Life is happening to me is one of the, I remember that playing all over in my mind over and over and over again. Like, why is this happening to me? And it was happening to me, not because, and not saying that, for me, my perpetrator didn't have any responsibility. He did loads, but I was responsible for staying where I was. I was responsible for making those decisions. I was responsible for getting out of it. I was responsible for finding somewhere to live. I was responsible for building myself back up. And it was in taking that responsibility that I suddenly reclaimed the power that I had over everything. So it suddenly became really easy. It was more difficult to remain a victim, and I thought that was just happening, but it was actually more difficult to remain in that spot than it was actually to, once you reclaim that power and go, actually, I get to choose now. You think, fuck, that's pretty fucking powerful when you realize that it's yours.
It is, and I think once you get into that frame of mind, it's easier when you find yourself in slipping back, which you will because you're human. So when shit happens to you, in that moment, you've got to remember that you, girl, are the only person that has the power to get yourself from where you are to where you want to be. And that's how I've switched everything around so quickly. So everyone's like, oh my God, like, 6 weeks ago, you're sobbing. Like, I was hysterical and thought life was over. And then one day I was like, fuck this shit. Like,
absolutely
this is
not.
the internal conversation. I'm like, hello? Are you going to let somebody else dictate how you live your life, or are you going to pay your own motherfucking bills? I think you'll find that's me. So in that moment, yes, I could feel myself slipping into victim mode because, I'm human, but I had a conversation with myself. I was self-aware enough to know that that's where I was going, and that wasn't a healthy path for me to be on. So becoming self-aware is something that's really, really important, I think. Understanding what makes you tick, understanding what you don't like, understanding, your ethics and morals and what your expectations of how you show up, how you communicate with people, how you leave people feeling. That's all down to you. That's like it's a process. It's not a destination. People are like, oh, you're so confident. Dani, I bet you get this. Oh, you're so confident, right? But it took something to make you confident.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a different kind of confidence than the confidence that people perceived. Being an extrovert naturally, confidence was a hat that I used to put on even when I was feeling shitty, when I was feeling terrible about myself. Whereas going through this self-awareness journey that you've just been talking about, this personal development, this learning about myself, what makes me tick, what are my strengths, celebrating them, what are my weaknesses, celebrating them, understanding that I can't do it all on my own, that the confidence that I have now is a quiet accepting of myself as opposed to anything else. Are you there? Leona. Oh, we were getting to the good stuff. Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? I can
I'm
hear
here.
you.
You've just frozen.
You've gone, so the screen's all blacked out, but I can hear you. I'm going to give it a sec.
What you're saying.
Bum. What I'm going to do is, if Leona can't hear me, what I will do is I will pop her backstage and see if she stays there for a sec. If not, I will wrap up and we will definitely Are you there?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Right. Well, in fact, it probably we can hear you perfectly. So in summary, the work that you do on yourself and being self-aware is probably the key to unlocking everything in terms of your success, like really getting to grips with who you are, what makes you tick, and all that kind of jive. Are you there, Leona Burton? Can you hear me? I'm going to pop Leona backstage for a sec, just see if she sticks around for a second. And the reason why I'm going to do that is, hang on. She's there. Are you there? Hello. I can see you.
Hello, I can barely hear you, Dani.
Bum. Well, what I'm going to do while she's there, can you see me? We'll have to sign to each other. No. All right. Okay. So I'm going to pop Leona backstage. And I will catch up with her a little bit later on. But what normally we do at this particular point in the show is share with you how you can hang out with our incredible guests. Now, you can find Leona and her incredible network. It's an international empowerment network called MIB, Mums or / Moms in Business. If you go and check out Leona, and then all the links will be on her page. Look for Leona Burton. You'll see all the groups that she's associated with. Please do go and follow her. It's such an incredible network to be a part of. If any of you watching, I think Emma Belmont, I think you were watching a little bit earlier. Are you still with us? Would you be able to pop the link to the group into the comments? That would be massively, massively helpful. I'm so sorry that interview got cut a little shorter than we would have liked. It is the joys of modern technology, but we are not letting it get us down, even in in just how far we got along in that conversation, you can see that Leona is definitely a force to be reckoned with and an absolute blinder to have on the show this morning. Certainly worth going and giving her a follow and finding out more about the MIB network and finding out more about how you can get involved. So, in summary, getting self-aware is probably one of the most important things that you can do if you are on a trajectory. If you are looking from where you are now to where you would like to be, getting self-aware, understanding yourself is the key to unlocking most other things. You could do that in lots of different ways. You can have a look at personal development. You can read books. You can check out Audible. For those of you having the first foray into personal development, I highly recommend getting Audible. You can get a 30-day free trial and check out books such as Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass. If it is more of a how do I love, all of which I will pop links to in the comments. But for now, that wraps up our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you joining me every single morning here, Monday to Friday at 8 a.m. Now then, tomorrow is a little bit of a funny one. We originally, and I hope this is still going to be the case, I'll find out after the show today, have Asta Philpott on the show. Now, he is the inspiration for newest movie coming out of Hollywood, Come As You Are. It's an incredible story and certainly one that we will have a lot of laughs with along the way. It will be a pre-record going out at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we will schedule it. It will happen just as a usual show at Rise Up show. Only I will only be able to interact with you in the comments as opposed to interacting with you on the screen. So letting us know what's happening with the weather may not work in the morning. If we don't manage to get a pre-record done today, I will be jumping on live anyway with a little bit of a curveball show. We'll have a little bit of a book update, and then we might invite one of you guys as viewers onto the show. We'll see what happens. Anything can happen on this show, all of which is valid, all of which is fabulous. We roll with the punches as we do in life, as we do in business. You guys are amazing. Please let me know in the comments what is going to be a win for you this week if you manage to bosh it off. Me, I'm going to write a book. I'll see you later.